you're not alone in what you're going through. Though circumstances are unique to each person, the enemy has some real common lies that he tells all of us. And the Lord has very specific answers to those, specific truths to those lies. You're not alone in what you're going through. Though circumstances are unique to each person, the enemy has some real common lies that he tells all of us. And the Lord has very specific answers to those, specific truths to those lies. So, one of the tricks that the enemy says is, you're the only one who ever thinks this, or you're the only one who ever has felt this. Don't say it, don't admit it, because you're the only one. And that's a lie. And it's really meant to keep us trapped, not only in that mindset, but just in this isolation. As great as technology is, I think people in the day-to-day still stay very isolated. Hey there. Are you a Christian woman who's ready to strengthen your faith and stop the madness in your mind? The worry, doubt, anxiety. Do you want something more for your life but are not sure where to even begin? You've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Kristin Campbell. I'm excited that you're here as we journey together to discover mindset renewal and empowered faith for the Christian woman. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today as I talk a little bit more about why I'm doing this podcast. I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time, yet, it just never seemed like a good time or a good fit for my schedule or, other things that were going on in my life. So it was constantly being put on hold. As I often ask my clients, what's behind that decision? And when I stopped and really thought about it, there was some fear there. Definitely. It's an unknown. I'm not a very techie person. I struggled through just trying to figure out social media and different things, even my website and like podcasts. It was like a little fear of how do I even make this work? There was fear of, who's going to listen, and the lies coming in of, what do you have to say? But really the bottom line was that God said to do it. And I have that choice that I can either step into what he's called me to do, or I can come into agreement with fear. And I just didn't want to do that. So I said, yes, here I am. And as I've said in the past, practically, there is only one of me. So within my life coaching and my business, I am limited to the number of individual women that I can work with in that life coaching capacity. I also have my family, and they come first. One of the reasons that I loved going into business for myself is because it absolutely provides me that flexibility to be able to be there for my kids and to be able to be present in the things that I deem important for my life, and to be able to have that flexibility in my schedule to do that. So, and they're very busy. And I'm sure you're going to hear me say this time and time again. My 3 kids are super busy. I love it for them. I am so proud of them. I support and encourage them in everything that they're trying. They're going out for new sports. They're trying new things. They are just just growing and just blowing my mind in who they are becoming. And I am here for it all. They are busy and they are living their best life. And I am supporting them in that. I'm also their free Uber. I'm, keeping them alive. I'm keeping them in clean clothes, and there's all that's going with it. So just that side of my life is very busy as well. But this podcast, I really view as being able to serve both communities that are very dear to my heart, my family, and also the women that I serve. And I think it's just really important to have this, I guess, avenue to be like a living testimony to what God has done and is doing in my life. It really serves women who I may never meet physically, personally. I may never have an opportunity to work with either individually or in a group setting. And, it's a space where women who may not, necessarily want the formality of life coaching, but do want the support, want the encouragement, want some strategies, want some, tools that they can put in their practice into their lives to help with their own faith journey and their own walk with the Lord and the renewing of their mindsets and some limiting beliefs. Because as I always say, you're not alone in what you're going through. Though circumstances are unique to each person, the enemy has some real common lies that he tells all of us. And the Lord has very specific answers to those, specific truths to those lies. One of the tricks that the enemy says is, you're the only one who ever thinks this, or you're the only one who ever has felt this. Don't say it, don't admit it, because you're the only one. And that's a lie. And it's really meant to keep us trapped, not only in that mindset, but just in this isolation. And, as great as technology is, I think people in the day-to-day still stay very isolated. I think this is a good avenue to bring some community in the sense, and awareness in the sense that, you're not alone in what you're thinking. And a lot of what I'm sharing, a lot of women have also thought or felt or gone through. So there's that validation piece, there's that connection piece, there's just knowing that there is a community of believers who are experiencing the same things, and that there's hope. And there's, this God who is so faithful just to complete that good work that he began in all of us. And there's just that connection. And even it's so amazing to me that there's this worldwide reach. I may never connect with some of you just because of physical proximity. Yet here we are, we can connect through this podcast or through social media. So I think that's just awesome. And it really amazes me that we're able to do that. And also to serve my family in the sense that I want to leave a legacy. When I say that, I don't mean like famous person, like on stage, or like that everybody in the world is going to know my name and I'm going to go down in the history books. Like, that's not what I'm talking about when I think about legacy. Like, if God calls me to a stage or anything bigger, we'll handle that when we get there. When I'm talking about legacy, I'm talking about for my family. I don't know how many days I have on this earth. I hope that I am still around to see my children grow up and to see their children. My grandmother lived to be 102, and she probably would have lived a little bit longer if COVID didn't come into the picture. So I have good genes. I have good genetics, but I don't know. No one's promised tomorrow. So I don't know how many days I have, but I want to be able to leave this as a way for my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren to know who I was, to know what God did in my life, to know what I believed, to know what my voice sounded like, to know my sense of humor, to have that live on, and to be able to share the word of God and to share truths and to share, strategies for overcoming and just encouragement and validation for years and generations to come. That to me is so precious and so very important. Another thing that I think is really cool in having this podcast is that I can even see my own personal growth. I come on and I share, but I share what I know now, and I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly getting into the word myself. The Lord is constantly showing me different things within his word, and I'm constantly reading books that apply to my industry. And I'm always going back and being like, okay, God, give me wisdom here, give me knowledge here, show me here. So I know what I know now. And as I learn more, I'll share more. So I'm excited and I'm expectant to see my own personal growth through this podcast. And even on the technical side, because I'm believing that technically this podcast is going to get better and better as I learn, the behind the scenes of it all. But absolutely spiritually, my own personal growth in the Lord and in what he's showing me. And, I say that also just to encourage you to always test what anybody tells you. The Bible is clear that, we're to test all things against the word of God. So if there's anything that's said that just your spirit, just isn't really connecting with it and it's not sitting right, there's a couple different things. One, you're living out of alignment with the word and it's convicting you a little bit. Or two, it may not be the correct interpretation of the word. Either way, the best thing to do is to seek the Lord and ask him for discernment, ask him for confirmation within his word. Ask him to clarify the truth for you. So again, I'm excited to see that personal growth in myself as I continue to learn and discover, and as my faith gets strengthened through this, and as my mindset continues to get renewed. So I am really excited about this podcast and about this journey again, so that I can share with women who I may otherwise not come into contact with, so I can leave a legacy for my family line, for my children's children and their children, and also just so that the Lord can continue to grow me, to continue to strengthen me and renew my mind. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. I hope you walked away a little stronger in your faith and freer in your mind. You are so loved. If you liked this episode, share it with a friend, leave your ratings and reviews, and engage with me on social media. I'd love to hear from you.